Welcome, United Methodist Women. My name is Emily Jones. I'm the Executive for Racial Justice at the National Office, and I'm here with Clara Ester, former National Vice President of United Methodist Women. Hi, Clara.
Good morning, Emily.
Such a gift to be here with you today. Clara, today we're honoring the incredible Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Many of us have been inspired by his words and by his work. But you have a unique and personal connection. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born and raised in Memphis, and that's where the sanitation strike took place in 1968. And Dr. King was invited into the city 2 or 3 times. And I was fortunate enough to meet him on a couple of occasions. I've been to the mountaintop speech on the night before the assassination. And then I happened to be at the hotel going for a catfish dinner with some SCLC staff and witnessed him being assassinated. So those were very difficult times in the city of Memphis. I would have never thought that I would have witnessed anything of that nature. But as we got out the cars to go to the restaurant part, he came out on the balcony and I stopped and sort of froze in a position looking up at him. He's talking to the crowd down below and what sounded like a truck backfiring, and people are hollering, "Get down, get down." And there was just something that said, he's been hit. I see him lifted up, thrown back, hits the pavement, he's not moving. And I take off and run up the steps and got to his side. He was in a pool of blood. I knelt over him, tried to get a pulse, and then I unbuckled his belt and his pants button to help him if that was too tight, that you can't breathe, maybe this will help. I suggested somebody bring towels out of the linen basket that was on the floor, and that young man put pressure on the wound. Can never wipe it out of my mind. His eyes were open. He had a pleasant look on his face. Laying flat on the pavement, naturally his eyes are toward heaven, and you just keep hearing the night before, "I may not get there. I may not get there with you, but we as a people will get to the promised land."
Such a powerful story. Looking over the mountaintop and now looking down on us. I wonder, in these times we're celebrating Dr. King, and Dr. King's vision widely celebrated in our community, but was King's vision controversial at the time?
Emily, we have come a mighty long way. We have actually made tremendous progress. And I don't say that lightly because our progress has been so slow. And then all of a sudden, about 5 years ago, we start seeing a reversal of that progress. I tell people all the time, I am proud to say that I grew up in a Black community and went to a Black church and had an all Black faculty in high school and almost all Black in college. But we fought to change that. And I look in the city I've served in for so many years, and we're back to all Black high schools, all Black elementary schools, low income generated because they can't have the gigantic fundraisers that white schools that are mixed are having in a more economic neighborhood that's progressing more financially than in the community where this Black school is. And so they are limited. When the pandemic hit, amazingly, Wi-Fi was not even available in the communities where the children were given iPads to virtually attend school every day. And they had to bring school buses to certain locations and Comcast to certain locations to try to provide the kind of help. I look at the senseless murders that take place almost every day. It's so many names now that it's difficult to even go back. And I remember so plainly Trayvon Martin. Our country will remember George Floyd. But just the other day, a young, older guy, 40 or 50 maybe, mentally challenged, is outside in his own yard, and the police officers are there. And the guy, because of his condition, unarmed, waving his arms and hands that they could see him, and his family shouting, "Don't shoot him, he's mentally challenged," and they shoot him. The guy was so strong, he gets up, and you can hear the round of bullets that the police officers put in this man until they killed him. We face that too much. In the 60s and in the 50s and the 40s, it was done at night with sheets over heads, and they would come into areas and snatch people and lynch a person if they had reason for it. Today, the hoods are off, and we walk around with automatic weapons in a country where that's not the way we should be living. Mm-hmm. And African Americans and Brown Americans and Native Americans cannot walk the streets with automatic weapons and still continue to walk. Mm-hmm. But we saw that at a Black Lives Matter rally, where a young man that had just shot some people walks by the military folks holding his rifle in his hand, and they tell him to go home. We have gone backwards, and it is so painful when you think about Voting Rights Act that John Lewis fought for, and how now we're changing everything. Everything has been changed to hurt a certain population of people in our country. And it's wrong. It was wrong then, and it's wrong now. It's worse now because we should know better. We should know we can live in a beloved community. We should know we can have relationships. We don't have to love everybody and agree with everything, but we need to learn how to accept everybody and how to talk through things that are keeping us so divided.
We've learned to make the holiday, but we maybe never really embraced the beloved community, the mutual, the network of inescapable mutuality that Dr. King talks about so beautifully. So you had mentioned Black Lives Matter. We say that Black Lives Matter to God, and Black Lives Matter to United Methodist Women. This seems almost like it's too obvious to be said, and yet these words continue to inspire incredible backlash. And so the words need to be said. Why do you think our country, and even to some degree our United Methodist Church, still struggles with those words, Black Lives Matter?
Because Black lives don't matter. Mm-hmm. We go through, when that statement's being said, people will get in your face and immediately say, "But Clara, all lives matter." And you have to stand up and almost fight to get them to hear, but I'm not certain they hear it all. Um, it, it's something about our history. And I have come to believe that until our true history can be shared and taught and learned by children that are growing up today, we're not going to change this at all. We don't accept and we make excuses. Well, we didn't own slaves. Those were my ancestors. My question then is, what have you done to make the children and grandchildren of slaves life any better? I talk to women that have women working in their homes, cleaning, caring for their infant children. And I ask simple questions. Are you paying Social Security on them? And the answer is no, we just give them cash every Friday. And we do better than that. We give them food that we know we're not going to eat over the weekend, that won't be any good, and they'll have to throw it out on Monday. We take them home when it's raining so they don't have to wait in the sun to catch a bus or walk home. We do all these nice little things, but are you taking care of them when they retire and can no longer work in your house? Or do they have to depend on food stamps and everything else to keep their life going? Are you giving them living wages that include $15 an hour plus benefits? And no, they are not. But we talk about all these nice things that we do for Black people and for brown people, but we do not. I have a shirt that is a James Baldwin sweatshirt, and it says, "I cannot believe what you say because I see what you do." And so when we gather in our churches, and our churches don't see the need on a conference level to put certain people in certain leadership roles, you're only qualified to do A, B, and C. I had a pastor once that refused to do a prayer because he said to that bishop years ago, he said, "Bishop, we can do more than pray and take up your money. We are capable to be the chair of your finance committee. We're capable of being in a higher position than what you grace us with." And so I don't think white America that challenges Black Lives Matter with a response, all lives matter, I don't think they get it. And they don't get it because they have not read the resources that United Methodist Women put out. It's painful resources. When you read things that we have done to hurt another race, it's painful. But people have contributed to that over and over, and they don't want to get out of the circle that they're in and go beyond that. They won't even stand up when harmful words are being said and correct those words in front of their friends. They'll say to you later, "I noticed that bothered you, and I'm so sorry." Well, if you were sorry and was that concerned about my pain, why didn't you say something to the rest of your friends when they use that phrase? It amazes me how we can make excuses. But I still go back. If we teach history, the true history of our country, and we can gather that information is out there in books, and pull it together and have a history book that is so colorful in contributions and so colorful in hate things, in things that we've done that have been wrong. And then look back, we will see a new generation of young people. Black Lives Matter is our hope for the future. Black Lives Matter to witness Black and brown and red families with their children marching in situations sometimes that turned a little violent, just a little violent, nothing compared to January 6th. No mob of that nature have walked down the street saying that they were a Black Lives Matter movement. We got to embrace that movement. We got to embrace the NAACP in a financial way. We got to embrace every organization, LGBTQIA community, and say, we are here. We are here for you and with you throughout the days. We got a long way to go. And it's not going to happen on January 20th. It's going to begin on January 20th. But January 20th, 2024, we still won't be where we need to be when we have as many people that are as divided as this nation is divided today, that believe in white supremacy, that believe in that control still, and don't want to help release and share a gift that was given by God to all of us.
Thank you, Clara, for that reflection. And I hear in that the call to action, right? We're more than half a century after Reverend Dr. King's passing, but the work of racial justice remains unfinished. And the urgency of the moment is still very present with us. So I thank you so much for your time. As we think about the legacy of this unfinished work of the civil rights movement and the continuing work of the Black Lives Matter movement, the work against white supremacy, the work of racial justice today, if you could leave United Methodist Women members with one closing word, with one closing call today, what would it be?
Hold on to hope. Hold on to hope. And love everywhere you can. And remember John Wesley, do no harm, and we'll be a better place.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Emily.